What if the Jedi Council kept the Chosen One prophecy a secret? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. There are prophecies whispered through the halls of the Jedi Temple. Secrets so ancient, so dangerous, that only the Grand Masters are ever told their full truth. One such prophecy spoke of a child born through the Force, one who would bring balance. But balance is a frightening thing, especially to those who built power on imbalance. Yoda knew this. He had seen the signs long before the boy was ever found, but he also knew the galaxy was not ready to hear it. So he kept the prophecy hidden, passed down from Grandmaster to Grandmaster, sealed in a vault even the Council dared not open. Until one day, a boy appeared. A slave from Tatooine, born of no father, possibly conceived by the Force itself. The boy is stronger in the Force than any Jedi had seen in generations. Sunlight filters through the high windows of the circular chamber. The Jedi Council members are seated in silence as Qui-Gon Jinn stands in the center. Anakin, small and anxious, stands beside him. Obi-Wan remains behind, arms crossed. Mace Windu leans forward slightly.
You bring us a child, a former slave from the Outer Rim, with no known lineage, no temple training, and you request we consider him for apprenticeship.
Not apprenticeship. I ask that he be trained as a Jedi.
This boy's midichlorian count is unusually high. Young Kenobi reported as much, but that does not make him a Jedi. His attachment to his mother clouds his mind. Fear and longing echo through him like thunder.
His emotions make him vulnerable.
And yet, you trained me, when I too was considered too old. Fear cannot be unlearned. His instincts are strong, his connection to the Force undeniable. I've never seen anything like it.
That may be, but you overstep. You ask us to break ancient traditions on the strength of your intuition.
Obi-Wan steps back and murmurs to himself.
He always does.
Yoda sits silent, eyes half-lidded, fingers steepled. He watches Anakin carefully, but says nothing. Could he be...
And what of your current Padawan? Will you cast him aside for this boy? Obi-Wan is ready for the trial. That I have no doubt. But this boy was placed in our path for a reason. The Force moves through him like I've never felt before.
You feel too much, Qui-Gon. You let the living Force blind you to structure, to caution. That is not our way.
Then perhaps our way must change.
Silence fills the chamber. Yoda slowly opens his eyes and looks at Anakin. The boy shifts under his gaze, but doesn't look away.
Tested, the boy must be. Then a decision make we can.
The Council soon tests Anakin, and the result is something that Qui-Gon isn't surprised about. The Council's verdict: the boy will not be trained. He is too old. Following this decision, in the dim glow of the Jedi Temple's meditation chamber, Master Yoda sits alone, eyes closed, the hum of the Force surrounding him like a second skin. Though silent, his mind wrestles with echoes long buried, the prophecy of the Chosen One. A whisper in the Force stirred anew. The boy, young Skywalker, the current of his presence in the Force was unlike any he had felt. Raw, powerful, tethered to fate. Could it be? No. And yet, yes. The old Jedi opens his eyes, troubled. At the same time, Queen Amidala proposes a vote of no confidence in Chancellor Valorum, saying she will go back to Naboo and face whatever consequences await her. The Council gives Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan a new directive: go with Queen Amidala to Naboo and draw out this potential Sith perpetrator. Later that evening, as Qui-Gon Jinn prepared to depart for Naboo, Yoda approaches him beneath the templed arched colonnade. The Green Master's voice was quiet, but firm.
Qui-Gon, a moment have you?
The Jedi Master stopped mid-step, turning to face his old teacher with a respectful incline of his head.
Of course, Master Yoda.
Yoda studied him in silence for a breath, as if weighing every word before speaking.
The boy, Skywalker, strong in the Force he is.
Stronger than any I've encountered. His potential is boundless. I know you feel it too.
Yoda nods slowly to this.
Unusual, his presence is. Clouded, like the future around him. Much fear, I sense.
Fear, yes, but fear is natural in children. With the right guidance, he will overcome it. He simply needs a change.
Dangerous chances can be. especially when taken with emotion.
I trust the living force. It brought him to us for a reason. I don't need the Council's approval to know what he must become.
A defiant student you remain.
Qui-Gon smirks at that, all but confirming Yoda's words.
And yet you still call me Master Jin, when formality suits you.
Yoda's ears twitched. His face, usually unreadable, was touched by something else. Weight, perhaps, or worry.
Passed down, there is a tale. A prophecy.
Qui-Gon's brow arched, sensing something important behind those words. But Yoda did not elaborate.
Few know it. Dangerous knowledge it is. Heavy, the burden of destiny. Not yet. Not yet.
He let that sentence drift into silence, then looked up directly to Qui-Gon's eyes.
Watch the boy, you must. More than he appears, he is. More than even you believe.
You believe he's important?
Believe. I am not sure. Feel. I do.
Then you agree he should be trained?
Yoda turned away, clasping his hands behind his back.
Ready, the Council is not. The galaxy, perhaps, neither. But destiny waits for none.
I won't fail him.
Yoda keeps his back turned to Qui-Gon.
No. But he may yet fail us all.
They stood there for a long moment, the two Jedi separated by centuries of belief, but joined now by something older than doctrine, the Force itself. Yoda finally turned and walked away, his cloak dragging softly over the stone. Qui-Gon watched him go, mind racing, but somehow more resolved, more confident in what he must do. Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi returned to Naboo with purpose, standing at the Queen's side as her plan unfolded with seamless precision. With the Gungans drawing out the droid army into the swamps, the palace strike force advanced undetected. But at the gates of the Theed hangar, cloaked in darkness and menace, Darth Maul awaited them. Lightsaber ignited. The clash began in furious flashes of red, green, and blue. The duel raged through the palace corridors and into the reactor chamber, where the energy barriers split the trio. But this time, Qui-Gon did not act on impulse. Instead, he dropped to his knees, meditating in the Force, calm amidst chaos. Maul paced behind the barrier, perplexed by the Jedi Master's serenity. When the gates opened, Maul lunged, only to be met by a waiting Qui-Gon, who parried and stalled until Obi-Wan rejoined the fray. Together they pressed the Sith warrior, twin blades dancing in harmony. With no prophecy weighing on his judgment, Qui-Gon focused with renewed clarity, and in one final flurry, they overwhelmed Maul. Qui-Gon striking him down with a swift stroke through the midsection. At the same time, Anakin destroyed the Trade Federation control ship in orbit, severing the droid army's power. Naboo was saved. Yet when they returned to Coruscant, the Jedi Council, unmoved by Qui-Gon's report of the Sith's return or Anakin's impressive feat, once again denied the boy's training. And so, resolved and unshaken, Qui-Gon Jinn stood before them one last time, not as a supplicant, but as a master ready to walk away. The circular chamber is dim. The skyline of Coruscant glittered through the tall windows. The Jedi Council is assembled. Mace Windu sits tall and rigid. Ki-Adi-Mundi strokes his beard thoughtfully. CC-Teen watches in silence. Yoda sits in his place, eyes half closed, unreadable. Anakin stands at the center, uncertain but composed. Qui-Gon Jinn stands beside him, arms folded in quiet defiance. Obi-Wan stands at his side, loyal but conflicted.
We have considered the boy, Qui-Gon, and we are unanimous.
The boy is strong in the Force, there is no doubt, but his future is clouded, shadowed by uncertainty.
He's too old, too impulsive. His attachments make him vulnerable to fear.
He has more potential than any I've encountered. His actions on Naboo speak for themselves.
Valor in battle does not equal discipline in spirit. He is dangerous. Then it is our responsibility to guide him, to protect him from what you fear he may become.
Much fear in him, I sense. Deep-rooted, difficult to train, he will be.
He needs guidance, compassion, not rejection. I brought him here because I believed in our purpose, that the Jedi stand for hope. And we have heard you, Master Jin. But our answer remains. The boy will not be trained.
A long silence hangs. Qui-Gon's expression hardens, not with anger, but with certainty.
Then I must follow the will of the Force, even if the Council will not.
You would defy the Council?
I no longer believe the Council sees the Force clearly. I will not leave this child to be swept up by darkness. If the Jedi will not train him, I will. Even if that means I am no longer one of you.
Obi-Wan's eyes widen. Gasps ripple amongst the masters.
Master,
You would abandon the Order, throw away decades of service for this boy? I am not abandoning the Jedi. I am returning to what the Jedi were meant to be. You may strip me of my rank, my title, but not my purpose.
He places a gentle hand on Anakin's shoulder. They turn to go. Anakin glances back at the council. Yoda watches, unmoving, something ancient and unreadable behind his gaze. Yoda murmurs to himself.
Watch him, I will. Carefully, I must.
The doors close behind them, leaving the chamber in heavy silence.
He's walking a dangerous path.
Or the right one, perhaps. Time, the Force will reveal.
After leaving the Jedi Order, Qui-Gon Jinn took Anakin Skywalker far from politics of Coruscant to a quiet, remote world where the Force pulsed through every tree and root and gust of wind. The planet was teeming with life, creatures, flora, and the very air humming with what Qui-Gon called the living Force. Here, in isolation, their training began.
Trust your instincts, Anakin. Be in the now. The Force lives in this moment, not the past, not the future.
It was difficult at first. Anakin was impulsive, distracted by what had been and what might be. But through quiet meditation among beasts of the forest, through deep breathing atop cliffs where the wind sang ancient songs, Anakin began to change. He learned to listen, not just with his ears, but with his soul. Qui-Gon had him meditate beside wild animals, allowing the boy to attune himself to their essence, feeling their fear, joy, hunger, and peace. Anakin began to sense life all around him and even influence it gently, calming a stampeding beast, directing flocks with the smallest ripple of intention. They travel world to world, the crystal canyons of Jeddah, the vast oceans of Mon Cala, the fungal forests of Felucia. Each planet taught Anakin something new about the Force's presence in living things. His training was relentless. Qui-Gon taught him Seresu for defense, Ataru for agility and momentum, and Gemso for strength and precision. Anakin's high midichlorian count was more than legend. His mastery of force healing, force speed, and even advanced perception came rapidly. He could levitate dozens of objects at once, slow his heartbeat to blend into the Force, even influence weak minds, all by the time he was 14. His lightsaber technique evolved into a style that was powerful, yet instinctual, a blend of styles shaped by the moment. But there was one thing he could not master: fear. His fear of loss, especially of his mother, remained. The trees rustle in a warm breeze. Anakin sits cross-legged at the edge of a clearing, lightsaber hilt resting in his lap. He stares into the horizon, eyes unfocused, mind elsewhere. Qui-Gon approaches from behind, silent until he sits beside him.
You're not in the moment, Anakin.
I try. I do. But she's still there. Every time I close my eyes, I see her, wondering if she's safe, if she's alive.
Love is natural. Fear is not. The Force surrounds all things, even your mother. Trust it.
But what if the Force doesn't protect her? What if something happens and I wasn't there to stop it?
Then it wasn't meant for you to stop. Pain is a part of life, Anakin. But if you cling to it, if fear rules your choices, that is when the path darkens.
I don't want to lose her. You and her are all I have.
And you think holding on to fear will stop loss?
Anakin lowers his head, jaw tight. He doesn't answer. Suddenly, a ripple passes through the air. The leaves still. The breeze halts. Anakin's eyes open, startled. Qui-Gon looks up, then smiles faintly. A figure steps from the tree line, small, cloaked in brown, walking with a gnarled cane.
Master Yoda.
Old friends. Time cannot erase.
Yoda steps into the clearing and sits before them, cross-legged, as he had done 1,000 times in council chambers.
5 years. Much has changed.
And yet, much remains the same.
Trouble with the boy, I sense. Deep his attachment runs.
I'm not weak.
Weak, no, but burdened. Dangerous, that can become.
He's made progress, more than any I've trained. But I will not lie to you. He still struggles with fear.
Fear, yes. But hope, too. In him, great light there is.
He leans forward, looking deep into Anakin's eyes.
Your path, unclear, but not yet lost. Still time to rise. Or fall.
Then what am I supposed to do?
Let go, you must. Let the Force flow through you. Do not force it to obey your will.
I try. I want to. But every time I reach out, I feel her. I feel her pain.
Then go to her. You must.
Anakin blinks. Even Qui-Gon turns slightly, surprised.
To Tatooine. Find your mother. Free her. If peace you seek, first free your heart. Only then can your mind be still.
That's not the Jedi way, Master.
And yet, the Jedi way, clouded it has become. Balance, not rules, we must serve. If fear blinds him, he cannot rise. If love grounds him, he may yet progress past this.
You mean I can go? Bring her with us?
Not attachment this is. Compassion it is. Love that shackles, dangerous, but love that frees, powerful.
He taps his cane lightly on the earth.
Bring her. Let her live among the stars. But lose yourself you must not. Carry her in peace, not in fear.
Then we leave for Tatooine by nightfall.
A different idea I have.
Qui-Gon Jinn, Master Yoda, and Anakin Skywalker journeyed to Tatooine under the twin suns to confront a ghost that had long haunted the boy, his mother, Shmi. Together they freed her from slavery, severing the final chain tethered to Anakin to a life of fear and longing. It was a turning point. With his mother safe and by his side, the weight that once clouded Anakin's mind lifted. The Force flowed through him clearer than ever before. From that moment on, his growth accelerated beyond anything Qui-Gon or even Yoda had anticipated. Freed from anxiety, Anakin threw himself into his training with renewed purpose. On lush worlds and desolate moons alike, the trio ventured, always seeking balance through the living Force. Qui-Gon continued to teach him to listen, to feel, to trust in the moment. Yoda, meanwhile, introduced him to the deeper mysteries of the Force. Advanced telekinesis, foresight, force healing, and even techniques to gently manipulate life energy. They taught him lightsaber forms, both offensive and defensive, mastering all 7 forms, and even rare insights into Vapad and Yarkai dual wielding. By the age of 19, Anakin's abilities had surpassed even their expectations. He could summon the Force with staggering precision and power, meditate for hours in communion with nature, and wield his saber with such mastery that he bested Qui-Gon in sparring regularly, and even dueled Master Yoda to a draw. His reputation began to quietly spread among those few who had witnessed his gifts. But the galaxy itself was beginning to fracture. In the halls of Coruscant, whispers of secession grew louder. The separatist movement, led by the disillusioned systems and corrupted figures, threatened to tear the Republic apart. War seemed inevitable. In the shadows, assassinations and unrest stirred. When Senator Padme Amidala, a vocal opponent of corruption and centralization, became the target of repeated attempts on her life, the Jedi found themselves stretched thin. With many Jedi dispatched across the Outer Rim or lost to bureaucratic paralysis, Yoda turned to the ones he trusted most. He sent a message to Qui-Gon.
Danger she is in. Watch her closely, you must. Anakin, ready he may be.
And so Master and Apprentice were summoned from their wandering exile to fulfill the first formal mission in years. Protect Senator Amidala, uncover the truth behind the attacks, and face whatever darkness now threatened to engulf the Republic. Sunlight streamed through the high-arched windows of the royal guest wing. The soft hum of waterfalls outside echoed through the marble halls. Senator Padme Amidala, no longer queen, but still radiant and commanding in presence, walked quickly down the corridor, her handmaidens trailing just behind. She stopped when she saw them, 3 figures waiting in the garden courtyard beyond the archway. An older woman in simple robes, a tall robed Jedi Master with a beard and steady presence, and...
Anakin?
He turned, older now, nearly a man fully grown. No longer the eager child with sand-stained boots and wide eyes, but a tall, composed figure dressed in dark robes, a lightsaber at his side. His eyes lift up as he saw her, a smile tugging at the corner of his lips.
Senator Amidala.
Please. It's just Padme.
They crossed the stone steps towards one another, the air thick with memory. Anakin bowed respectfully but held her gaze. Padme placed a hand on his shoulder, studying him.
You've changed so much.
So have you.
They held that moment until Shmi stepped forward, her voice quiet but warm.
Padme, I never thought I'd get to thank you. for everything you did for my son. And for me.
Shmi, you don't need to thank me. I always wondered what happened to you both. I thought...
We've been living in peace. Training. Learning.
Padme turned to Anakin with renewed curiosity.
And now you're a Jedi.
Not in name, but in purpose. I serve the Force. I protect those who can't protect themselves.
Still dramatic, I see.
Anakin chuckled softly. Shmi watched the two of them quietly, pleased.
He's becoming something wonderful. Thanks to Qui-Gon. And Master Yoda.
The galaxy is changing, Senator. And I believe Anakin may be one of the few strong enough to help hold it together.
That's what I'm afraid of. Corruption spreads through the Senate like rot. Systems are leaving. And now someone's trying to kill me for speaking out against the war.
She turns to Anakin.
I'm glad you're here.
They shared a quiet look, layered with time, memory, and something unspoken. The tension of the Republic's descent into chaos hung in the air. But for a moment, peace rested in that garden. The city never slept, but this night felt heavier, charged with tension. The assassination attempt on Senator Amidala had shaken the Republic. The explosive device planted in her starship hangar claimed 2 lives meant to protect her. It was a message. Someone powerful wanted her silenced, so the trio set up a trap, and the bounty hunter took the bait. They tracked the trail of the bounty hunter, a masked figure, skilled and silent, to the streets of Coruscant. A high-speed chase through airlines and underworld tunnels ended with the assailant cornered. But before she could speak, a toxic dart silenced her forever. A Kamino saber dart, cloner craftsmanship. Back at the Jedi Temple, Qui-Gon and Yoda studied the weapon. Using their contacts, they figured it out. It originated to Kamino, a planet erased from the Jedi archives. The fact alone spoke volumes. Someone wanted it hidden, someone powerful. Qui-Gon Jinn's brow furrowed. He could feel it. A thread of shadow leading off-world.
Master Yoda, I must investigate this.
Yoda turned slowly.
Sense danger in your path, I do.
I have walked into danger before, but this feels coordinated. This isn't just a bounty hunter. This is part of something larger.
Yoda nodded.
Go, you must. But watch the shadows closely.
Qui-Gon turned to Anakin and Padme standing nearby.
You two will not join me. Padme is still in danger. Someone may try again. Anakin, take her back. Protect her. Quietly. Stay hidden.
Padme opened her mouth to protest, but Qui-Gon raised a hand.
I trust him, and I trust you. Go.
Padme and Anakin exchanged a look, one filled with 1,000 things unspoken. Fear, hope, something warmer still. As the Jedi ship prepared to lift for Kamino, Qui-Gon placed a firm hand on Anakin's shoulder.
Stay grounded. Trust the Force. Listen to her.
Anakin smirked.
Padme?
The Force.
Qui-Gon deadpanned, then softened.
But yes, Padme too.
And with that, the paths of master and apprentice diverged. Anakin would go to Naboo, Qui-Gon would go to Kamino, and the fate of the galaxy would pivot on which each found waiting for them. Rain battered the Kaminoan city of Tapaka, like a drumbeat of destiny. Qui-Gon Jinn stepped onto the landing platform, robe soaked, eyes sharp. The dart had led him here, to a cloning facility lost in the archives. What he uncovered was both shocking and strategic. A clone army commissioned in the name of the Republic years ago, by a Jedi long dead. The Kaminoans brought Qui-Gon to meet Jango Fett.
Lord Tyrannus hired me on the moons of Bogdan.
He didn't trust it. It felt manipulated, artificial, like the calm before a storm. But for now, he said nothing. He downloaded the clone army data into his communicator and departed, heading back to Coruscant with heavier thoughts than when he arrived. Meanwhile, on Naboo, Anakin Skywalker was falling in love. Without the weight of the Jedi restriction and fear, love blossomed easily. Padme Amidala saw in Anakin not the boy she once met, but a man of honor and courage, trained by 2 of the wisest Jedi. She spoke freely, laughed often, and wore his heart plainly. Shmi Skywalker had also stayed on Naboo, now free and alive thanks to the Jedi. She watched her son with pride, seeing the man he had become. Her presence anchored Anakin further, allowing him to grow with clarity, not shame. The nights by the lake were filled with open conversations, gentle touches, and honest dreams of the future. They did not hide their love, and neither Qui-Gon nor Yoda reprimanded it. When Qui-Gon heard the name again, Tyrannus, it struck something deeper this time. The Force swirled violently around it. That night, in meditation, he had a vision. Dooku, his old master, proud and aloof, He saw Dooku cloaked in shadows, standing in a ring of red sand. Geonosis, the place where he would find answers. Without hesitation, Qui-Gon flew to Geonosis alone, not wanting to draw attention or risk Anakin's safety. Damp air clung to the stone walls. Shadows flickered from hanging torches. Qui-Gon Jinn stepped into the dark chamber, hand near his lightsaber, eyes locked on the tall figure ahead.
I wondered how long it would take you to find me, old friend. This isn't a social visit, Master. I know about the clone army, about the name. Tyrannus.
Dooku smiled faintly.
Then you've only glimpsed the surface. There is a darkness rising, Qui-Gon. One deeper than even you can sense with your precious living force. Don't speak to me of the Force. You've fallen far from it. Have I? Or have I simply seen the truth? There is a Sith Lord at the heart of the Republic. He controls the Senate, the Jedi, even the war to come. Everything.
Who?
His name is Darth Sidious. And if you're wise, you'll leave Coruscant behind before he sets his eyes on your apprentice.
Qui-Gon's expression tightens.
You don't know Anakin, but I felt him. He burns with potential. The boy who walks the edge of shadow. That's not a warning, Qui-Gon. It's an invitation.
Qui-Gon steps forward, jaw clenched.
You'll never touch him. Perhaps not, but Sidious will. He's already watching. The question is, when the time comes, will you have prepared Anakin for what he must face, or will your defiance have doomed him?
Qui-Gon doesn't answer. He turns and leaves without another word, cloak billowing behind him. The doors hissed closed behind Qui-Gon Jinn. He stood in the soft glow of the chamber, robes still dusted with the red sand of Geonosis, the wariness of truth weighing heavy on his shoulders. Yoda sat alone in the center, cross-legged on his cushion, eyes closed, but he didn't need to open them.
Troubled you are.
Dooku has fallen to the dark side. He's taken the name Tyrannus. He commissioned the clone army.
Yoda did not move. His eyelids remained closed, but his brow furrowed slightly.
And he claims there is a Sith Lord in the Senate, Darth Sidious, controlling both sides of the coming war.
Much fear in Dooku there is. Twisted his path has become, yet lies I sense not.
Master, if what he says is true, then we are already at war. The Jedi are not blind. The Council will debate, stall, hesitate. We do not have time for that. Anakin.
He stopped, realizing how tightly he'd said the name. Yoda's eyes open now, staring deeply into his.
Yes. Anakin.
What is it?
Yoda exhaled deeply, then slowly rose to his feet. He paced, gnarled hands clasped behind his back.
Long have I carried a truth, shared by no one, passed only from Grandmaster to Grandmaster.
A truth.
A prophecy.
He turned to face Qui-Gon fully now, the weight of centuries behind his voice.
A chosen one shall come, born of no father, and through him will ultimate balance be restored to the Force.
Qui-Gon froze. The words sank in like a blade slowly unsheathed.
Born of no father.
Anakin.
You knew.
Suspected I did. For years. But unready the boy was. Dangerous it could become, if told too soon. If forced too quickly.
You let me walk away from the Order with him. You let the Council reject him, without a word.
Needed to see what path you would take. Guided by the living Force you were. The boy needed a teacher who would listen to the will of the Force, not just the rules of the Order.
You were testing me.
Trusting you, I was. And now, the time has come.
Why tell me now?
Because Sidious watches. Because war comes. Because only the Chosen One can destroy the Sith.
A long silence. Then,
he's just a boy.
No, not anymore.
They both turned toward the wide window overlooking the city. The glow of Coruscant burned below, unaware of the storm that brewed above. Qui-Gon Jinn sat alone in his quarters, the city lights of Coruscant shimmering beyond the durasteel windows like a million false stars. The Force was not quiet. It hadn't been for days. Ever since the word of Tyrannus passed Jango Fett's lips, something had shifted. The Force had become urgent, volatile, pointed. He had meditated. He had searched. But still, the center of the storm evaded him. It was Dooku's words that haunted him now.
There is a Sith Lord in the Senate. He controls everything.
Qui-Gon didn't want to believe it. But the Force didn't care for what he wanted. He began his investigation with a single dangerous assumption, that Dooku was telling the truth. And if that were the case, then someone close to the very core of power was manipulating the war, the Senate, the Jedi. He watched. For days, Qui-Gon observed Senate proceedings under the guise of a diplomatic attaché. He watched Chancellor Palpatine speak, always calm, always calculated. The man rarely blinked, his voice smooth as glass. The senators followed him like metal shavings to a magnet. He was respected, he was trusted, he was untouchable. And yet, something felt off. The living Force had always guided Qui-Gon with whispers, tugs in strange directions, fleeting visions. But now it roared in silence whenever Palpatine entered the chamber. The air itself seemed to resist movement around him. Not stillness, absence. It was like Palpatine's soul had pulled away from the Force entirely. Then came the missing records. In the Jedi archives, Qui-Gon searched for clues about the clone army, Camino, Sifo-Dyas, any mention of Lord Tyrannus. He found deletions, records that had no business missing, not tampered, erased by someone with access to highest levels. And only a handful of beings could do such a thing. Only the Jedi Council and the Grand Archivist, or the Office of the Supreme Chancellor. He found more. Private channels routed through proxy servers, transmissions to coordinates in the Outer Rim, unmarked, highly encrypted, but one was intercepted. It was faint, fragmented, but he recognized the voice.
All is proceeding as I have foreseen, my apprentice.
It wasn't Dooku's voice. It was familiar. A deep, controlled tenor, slightly rasped. Qui-Gon played it again and again. It was Palpatine. His breath caught. The Force surged like a tidal wave crashing into his chest. It was him. All this time. Darth Sidious, master of the Sith, architect of the Clone War, shadow behind the Senate, was none other than Sheev Palpatine, Supreme Chancellor of the Republic. The deception was perfect. The Sith hadn't returned to attack the Republic. They had become the Republic. Qui-Gon staggered back from the terminal, shaken to the core. But this resolve returned just as quickly. There was no more time for diplomacy, no more room for doubt. If Palpatine was Sidious, then the war was merely the beginning. The rain poured over the Senate district, shimmering against the Durasteel towers as thunder cracked in the distance. The galaxy held its breath. In a quiet corner of the Chancellor's spire, cloaked in silence and shadows, Qui-Gon Jinn walked with purpose. The living Force had guided him here. He stepped through the Chancellor's private entrance, alone. The room was dark, lit only by the lights of Coruscant's skyline and the deep red glow of the Chancellor's window. Palpatine stood, his back turned.
Master Jin,
He said, without looking.
you've come to the end of your path.
Qui-Gon stepped forward, his eyes sharp.
I have. But yours ends tonight.
In that instant, on Naboo, Anakin Skywalker froze in place. His eyes widened. The world spun. A shatter point in the Force. Something vital was breaking. Someone.
Qui-Gon,
He turned to Padme.
I have to go. Now.
Moments later, Anakin soared through hyperspace aboard a Jedi starfighter, guided only by instinct. The Force roared within him. He arrived at Coruscant, racing through the city, heart pounding. Palpatine turned to Qui-Gon, the warm facade slipping away as a sneer twisted his face. The voice that emerged was no longer that of the Chancellor. It was the whispering, venomous tone of the dark side incarnate.
Then let us finish what Dooku could not.
His crimson blade erupted from his sleeve. Qui-Gon ignited his green saber in reply. Their duel erupted like a storm, graceful, deadly, deliberate. Palpatine struck with speed and precision, the dark side making him fluid and savage. Qui-Gon, older now, relied on instinct and clarity, parrying with serenity. Sparks flew as saber clashed against saber, the room alive with the scream of plasma. Inside the Chancellor's chamber, Qui-Gon faltered. Sidious was too fast, too brutal. With a feint and a spin, the Sith Lord sliced across Qui-Gon's side. The Jedi Master fell to one knee, hissing through the pain, saber still raised. Sidious grinned.
You should have joined Dooku. joined me, the boy would have lived.
He will live,
Qui-Gon said through bloodied lips.
and he will end you.
Then the doors exploded open. Anakin hurled through them like a bolt of lightning. The air cracked as Anakin landed, saber already moving. His fury ignited not from hate, but from purpose, from love, from pain, from years of unshackled training under the living force. Palpatine snarled, spinning to meet him, red blades snapping forward in a vicious counterstrike. But Anakin was faster. Their blades collided, casting crimson and sapphire light across the chamber. Sparks hissed and danced along the durasteel walls. Sidious lunged with dark, jagged stabs, his form unpredictable, chaotic, but Anakin flowed like water, redirecting each blow with flawless Form 3 Suresu. Then, in a blink, he switched to Gemso, hammering down with brute precision. The Sith reeled, backpedaling, his confidence shaken. Sidious thrust a hand forward, summoning a torrent of Sith lightning, but Anakin caught it with his bare hand. The Force surged through him like a tidal wave. With a roar, he reversed the lightning, channeling it back, amplified, in a blinding arc that shattered the statue behind Sidious into molten fragments. Anakin stepped forward, eyes glowing faintly, not yellow with corruption, but gold with the power of perfect balance. He reached out, calling every object in the room, chairs, consoles, shattered metal, and flung them at Sidious in a synchronized storm. Sidious sliced through the barrage, but it bought Anakin seconds. Seconds were all he needed. He vanished in a force blur, reappearing beside Sidious in midair, saber aimed down. Sidious twisted just in time, locking blades.
You used the Republic. You used the Jedi. You manipulated everyone. Everything.
Strike, parry, thrust.
You took my master. You tried to kill Padme.
The words landed as hard as the blows. Qui-Gon, barely conscious, looked up from the floor, the force swelling in the room like a gathering storm. Anakin's aura flared, a blazing sun in the Force. He wasn't just a Jedi. He was the Force incarnate. Sidious shrieked and pushed Anakin back with a Force repulse, hurling him into the far wall. But Anakin stood up, unharmed, hovering an inch off the ground. His saber retracted.
I'm done with words.
He extended both hands. The air trembled. The walls cracked. The floors rose in place. Anakin reached deep, beyond technique, beyond form, and gripped the very essence of the Force. With a shout, he released a Force maelstrom. Sidious was thrown through the chamber, slamming into the durasteel frame of the window. Lightning danced across his body, uncontrolled, erratic. Sidious screamed, not just in pain, but in fear. True fear. Anakin's saber ignited once more. He advanced, step by step. Sidious lashed out in desperation, another flurry of red light, another surge of darkness. But Anakin had already seen it. A shatter point. Time slowed. He pivoted, caught the blow, disarmed Sidious with a twist, and drove his saber forward, right through the heart of the Sith Lord. Silence. The crimson blade deactivated. The dark side howled, then collapsed in on itself. Palpatine's body fell to the ground, lifeless, smoke rising from the wound. The shadow that had clouded the galaxy lifted like fog before dawn. Anakin stood over him, chest heaving. He turned and dropped to his knees beside Qui-Gon.
Master, it's done.
Qui-Gon's eyes fluttered open. He smiled, weak, proud.
You are the chosen one. I'm proud of you.
And then, like a whisper on the wind, he was gone. The war ended before it began. The Republic mourned Palpatine, never knowing the truth. But the Jedi knew. Yoda knew. And Anakin knew. A new path would be forged. And for the first time in generations, the Force was in balance. Padme was eventually voted in as the new Chancellor. Anakin started his own Jedi Order, based out of Naboo, one that focused on training through the living Force, just as he was. Anakin went on to marry Padme, and they had 3 beautiful children, Luke, Leia, and Qui-Gon. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you'd like to join us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.